I'm so angry.
What? What? Why are you so angry, man?
Okay, there.
Anyway, yeah. Welcome to another one of my D&D 5e tier list videos, except with a guest star, Pleeps. Basically, the reason why I'm doing this is we had a conversation talking
Which
about
we're not going to talk about at all, even what class we're talking about.
well, either way, we were talking about what would have been the worst class for that was, or not class, subclass for that class.
So,
And you know what? I had the bright idea of hey, we have a tier list, so we're doing a random order. We have a random wheel, and Please had already spun it before we started the recording, and we're starting with Barbarian. I don't know how many classes we are gonna get through, but at least we're getting through Barbarian.
before we go into the actual subclasses, let's talk about Barbarian, if you don't
Yeah,
mind.
right. Like what do we consider to be either great features of a great Barbarian?
I mean,
I mean,
let's
yeah,
just let's just look at what a barbarian is.
yeah,
So, barbarians are, of course, your big, ragey tanks. Honestly,
yep,
tanks are probably what I view like as their main job.
yeah. Mainly
Things they can
tanks.
do is
They could
soak
do
up
good damage.
especially if you can get them the Great Weapon Master Fate. But
Of
whatever.
course,
Yes,
of course.
generally speaking, they are great melee attackers, but what a barbarian wants to do is soak up damage. So anything
Absolutely.
they can do to keep the damage on them is good. I also should stress that we are covering the 2014 stuff right
Yep.
now.
Only 2014. That's a good
So
call to make.
yes, with that in mind, taking a look at what barbarians get, their rage, of course, which has any bludgeoning,
Bludgeoning,
piercing,
piercing,
slashing.
slashing. A very
Uh,
lovely
their uh,
feature.
their unarmored defense, which could be helpful depending on your barbarian build.
Yep, yep.
The reckless attack and danger sense. This means that, generally speaking, barbarians are going to benefit from getting to do attacks and be not get, and they can take some damage, and also their deck is a good stat to focus on if you have extra stats to focus on.
Yeah. I mean, my
Uh,
when I build a barbarian, my top three stats, mainly because of unarmored defense, is of course depending on my rolls, but for any of my tier lists, I always assume point buy.
yeah.
Uh,
Before we even get,
yeah,
so yeah, you can talk about your thing.
but yeah,
I actually have a level 19 barbarian that I've been playing in
yeah,
uh,
for a long time.
Discord server.
Uh,
Yeah.
but my when I think of barbarian, my first three stats, unless I'm doing something weird, is strength, then con, then dex.
I mean, let's actually talk about it. Now, barbarians just get a D12 hit die, so
Yeah,
you wouldn't think con is so important because they get a lot of health either way. But what's good to remember is that if a barbarian's ability comes with a DC, it is usually built around their constitution.
correct.
Uh, so yeah, those three priority orders are absolutely something I agree with, and it is something we'll keep in mind when actually looking at these subclasses.
And
Speaking
keep
of,
in mind as well, always having a good con. Consider each point of HP you have is practically doubled for at the very least for each of them bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing.
I mean, it depends on
Which
what you're dealing with.
right,
We'll
but still,
talk more about that closer to the end of the list, honestly. So, why don't we talk about our first friend, the Berserker?
yep. 2014 Berserker. I have
So
the
let's take
page
a
open.
look at what Berserkers get. First off, they get Frenzy, a frenzied rage, which means that they are going to get an additional attack, which, depending on your build, even though this will use a bonus action,
It will.
is super useful. Now, something to keep in mind is you can't do this every fight of every day unless your DM is running a low combat campaign.
Right, because it's such a high risk ability,
Oh,
which I
I will
did have
say,
a little misunderstanding of how the ability worked whenever I first read it. When I originally read it, I
mhm.
assumed that it was whenever you frenzy, each time you use your bonus action to make a weapon attack, it'll cause exhaustion.
that that would be awful.
Right, but after
Thankfully, no.
yeah, thankfully no. It's exhaustion still sucks. Don't get me wrong.
What I will say is, generally speaking, looking at how exhaustion works, uh, you can use your frenzied rage twice in any given day, provided that you already don't have any exhaustion used up, and be perfectly fine.
Right.
getting beyond that, and you're going to start suffering. But twice in one day, it's nice because that means that you're getting basically have for the huge damage for what might be like the big fight of the night, maybe one other fight. So this is a really solid ability. Honestly, it's simple but solid.
It's solid.
Now let's talk about. This is what I think honestly is what gives the Berserker its bread and butter. The
Mindless Rage, which I do agree, it is their best feature.
So
it's simple.
While raging, you cannot be charmed or frightened.
And if you are charmed or frightened, when you enter your rage, they are suspended for the duration. So, this is just a big fuck you to dragons.
Now, before we even get to that, I want to state, do you want to know, as someone who's playing a level 19 Barbarian, we'll talk about my subclass when we get there.
Right.
Do you want to know what the worst thing is?
Getting charmed or frightened.
Well, more specifically charmed. But yes. But frightened is also an issue, because
Right, no, like, frightened can cripple you.
Yeah.
Because if you're raging, and then you get frightened, you basically lose your rage. Depending on, how the combat works and whatnot.
Also what level you're on.
That's also true.
But anyways, so the big thing about Mindless Rage is this takes away what everyone agrees is the Barbarian's biggest weakness. No one is controlling and turning me against anybody, because I say who I control. This ability right here means that you will never have to worry, generally, except for some super rare effects that we're not even going to talk about not getting the dish out damage.
Right.
Also, it means that you can put a little less focus into stuff like wisdom and charisma, if you wanted to, with less concern, which is good because that means more stuff to the 3 main stats.
Well, for this subclass specifically, I don't know how low we want our charisma, but we will get there when we get there.
True. I'm looking at the ability
for Mindless Rage, which Mindless Rage is this subclass's bread and butter. This is their best ability. I will not argue. This is for a Barbarian, and again, for how simple this is. Because this is placed on a Barbarian, it has a lot of value.
I would say if your plan is 6 levels in Barbarian, you cannot go wrong with Berserker if this is what we're looking at. But let's get to the next ability.
Intimidating Presence.
And I'm going to state something right now. And this will be a lot. You can use your action to frighten someone with your menacing presence. When you do so, choose one creature. This sucks.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. Here's the truth. If you're a Barbarian, you are a frenzied Barbarian. In order to get your bonus action attack, you need to be attacking. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means that you know what you're going to want to do? I cannot imagine a situation that you're going to be in where it is going to make more sense. Heck, no, wait, let me actually say this right now. You're a Barbarian. You don't want the enemies going away from you. Because here's the thing. If the enemies are going away from you, do you know where they're going?
To your allies.
Those spellcasters you're trying to protect. Intimidating Presence is not only a bad ability action economy-wise, and it is.
It hurts your rage because unless rage doesn't keep going if you apply an effect. It's only when you deal damage or attempt to attack. Yeah.
Take damage. But even beyond that, no, because again, late Barbarians doesn't even care about keeping the rage because they can just get it forever. No, our real issue is this. Our Barbarian's goal is to be the tank. That means that we want all damage directed at us.
Right.
And if we scare everyone away, do you know what happens? All that damage is
more than likely they're going to go away. And
which is not what we want.
Right. There are cases where, your Barbarian's like in front of the wizard and they can't exactly get closer because you're there, but that is assuming a little bit of stuff.
And to really demonstrate how bad Intimidating Presence is, let's look at Retaliation. Starting at 14th level, when you take damage from a creature that's within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to make a melee weapon attack against that creature.
This is their second best feature.
No, it is good. It's not crazy, but it's
right.
good. But I want to ask you a question here. What the 2 features don't work together?
Intimidating Presence.
And Retaliation. Because if they're scared, they're not going to get within 5 feet of you, meaning you're not going to get that extra damage off.
Right. Right. So, I will say, there is one thing I do want to say about Intimidating Presence, which we could take into the factor. Mm-hmm. Intimidating Presence isn't just a combat feature. It isn't limited by, you being into rage.
It
So
is
you
a
could.
combat feature. It's a combat feature. I'm sorry to break it to you.
Well, I was gonna say, I could see a DM ruling that you could use this for role play, like you're in a shop and you're trying to get like information from a shopkeeper, like intimidating them with this. I know it's not an
Here,
intimidation, but you see what I'm
here's
saying? Like,
yeah. I mean, okay,
you
at
could.
that point. But here's the thing: any barbarian gets proficient in intimidation. But here's the issue
Right.
with your plan to use intimidating presence out of combat. Which again, I respect you trying to find an alternate use. Intimidating presence does not work outside of combat, tragically. Period. For one annoying reason.
Why
It's
doesn't?
duration. It's duration.
How long is the duration?
Until the
Oh,
end of your
ill,
next turn. You
ill,
can use your action to extend that duration,
ill.
but that just means that for being the intimidating thing, you're just like kind of standing there staring at them. You're basically doing nothing else.
Yeah, no, intimidating
And again,
presence.
as a
Yeah,
reminder, in D&D, outside of combat, 6 seconds. How long a
is
turn is
nothing.
nothing. Yeah.
But yeah,
So
intimidating presence is just it sucks because the duration isn't long enough. It takes an action which interrupts everything that a barbarian wants to do. It goes
yep.
based off of charisma and not con or strength.
Hmm.
It gets crippled by so much.
So with that, before we even rank it, let me tell you how I would do it. For me, I would take Berserker if I were playing one up to 6th level.
That is fair.
I think Frenzy is great, Mindless Rage is great. I don't think Retaliation is worth going any further. I would probably go 6 levels into Berserker, and then once I get that, get myself a level, go the rest of the way into Fighter.
Right.
A
I
Berserker Fighter, heck, even a Berserker Ranger. No, Berserker Ranger.
a Berserker Ranger could work.
Actually, you know what? Here's the thing: if we're doing Berserker Ranger, then and specifically then, I could make an argument for intimidating presence and going up 10th level. But you are really giving your Ranger features to do that.
Right. So I
But
guess where does that leave us?
so looking at the Berserker, I'm gonna put it solid B. It's not bad, and I wouldn't avoid taking it over other things. Honestly, it has some value, but I would never go full Berserker given the choice. Honestly,
I think I'm fine with that, especially with my revealed the revealed ability of the exhaustion thing. I feel like it adds a lot more value to it, but it isn't perfect.
oh, now we get a
Next,
fun one. Oh
we
boy,
have
let
Battle Rager. Now here is the question, and here's something
I mean,
I do want to consider. I've heard
yes,
a lot of DMs remove the
literally,
restriction from dwarves. Do you
yes,
think we should
and
consider that into this debate? Or not debate,
here,
but review.
no. Here's what I will say about that. Well, a lot of DMs, myself included, do remove that restriction.
Not everyone does.
I feel that if we're judging something, we gotta judge it how it is in the book.
That's fair.
Because if we were judging things with every alteration we would make if we had the power to do so because we were DMs, then everything would be S tier because we would make all the best alterations.
That's fair point. So,
So that is the first thing up on this page. So let's take a look at it.
yep.
Only
Dwarves
dwarves
only.
can follow the path of the battle rich. Now this means
We're stuck at 25 feet movement. I don't believe there's a dwarf that has
well, well, well,
more.
well, well, no, we're not because barbarians get like a good chunk of movement.
Well, true, true. That's a good point.
But what's really important here, is honestly is just keep that in mind that it is, I think, automatically going to whatever we ultimately judge it as. We're going to rank it one down for that reason alone.
Right. Like I feel like that does hurt it a little bit. Not
All
like
right, so let's
not like to a massive degree, but it still hurts. But so now,
let's take a look at what
Battle
battle rangers
Rager
get.
armor.
When you choose this path at 3rd level, you gain the ability to use spiked armor as a weapon.
And I'm gonna click on this thing just to bring up spiked armor. Okay, that link does not give me.
Yeah, no, spiked armor is its own thing. It's spiked armor is just a battle rager feature. It's not an actual item.
Oh no, it's an item, but the link that it has there did not bring me to the right thing I was looking for.
Carrying
Yeah.
on.
Anyway,
While you are wearing spiked armor and are raging, you can use a bonus action to make a melee weapon attack with your armor spikes against a target within 5 feet of you. So, like the Berserker, we're getting a bonus action attack.
yeah, bonus
Unlike
action
the Berserker, though, the spikes deal 1d4 piercing damage.
plus your strength modifier.
Yeah, of course, but we know that.
So,
But when you use the attack action to grapple a creature, the target takes 3 piercing damage if your grapple check succeeds. I'm going to be honest. I actually don't know anything about the Battle Rager. This is my first time really giving it a close look. This 3rd level ability, and I'm going to be gentle when I say it, is god awful.
I don't think it's. Here's the thing. It's bad, but it's not awful. It's another way to get a bonus action attack. This is the only barbarian that I can think of that encourages grappling of any sort. That has a bonus to it.
Well, that's true. What you have to remember, and this is important, is grappling is part of your attack action.
That is also true.
And the honest truth is, 9 times out of 10, if I am in a situation where I am grappling somebody as a barbarian, I don't want to kill them. I don't actually want to hurt them.
Right.
If I wanted to damage them, I would just use my weapon on them.
And that will do no matter what. If you hit, no matter what, that's going to deal more damage because this only does a base of 3. I feel like for the grappling thing to be of value, maybe it could be 3 plus your strength modifier. But even then, that's still low.
Oh, yeah. The truth is, and there is my issue. The fact is, let's take a look at Berserker. 3rd level, we get a major feature that changes how we want to play the game. And, not to spoil things, most Barbarian subclasses give that.
Right.
Here, this isn't going to change my playstyle any.
Right. It's still nice that it gives you a weak but okay bonus action attack. I feel like that's what I'm looking at for. Anyway.
Yeah, but again, we got a much better options elsewhere. But
correct.
Let's take a look at Reckless Abandon.
Reckless Abandon.
Beginning at 6th level, when you use Reckless Attack while raging, you also gain temporary hit points equal to your con modifier. They vanish if any of them are left when your rage ends. This is okay.
So here is my question about this feature, because I've always read this and had a confusion about this feature.
Oh.
Specifically, that last sentence. Mm-hmm. They vanish when your rage ends. Wait, never mind. I've actually never noticed that it said using Reckless Attack while raging, you gain temporary HP. I've never seen while raging, so my bad. I was gonna say if you use it when you're not in Reckless Attack and you gain them, yeah, right.
Yes, no.
Which this it's not a lot of HP.
You're right. It's not a lot of HP, but there is an issue. There is I will state, it is not my least favorite 6th level Barbarian feature, and I'll give it that. But there is an unfortunate issue here.
What is your issue with it?
You have to Reckless to use it.
That's true. That is providing a lot of risk, but you also got to factor in that temp HP, which, we're a Barbarian. Let's say it's at least 3. That's a constant, basically constant extra 3 temp HP every time you Reckless.
True, but because I'm Recklessing, I'm taking
right. You're more than likely to take damage. So it's a give and take.
There's actual math to this. Now I'm not gonna say it's a bad feature because it's not. But as a selling point to the class, because we're still looking for that, remember?
Correct.
We're still looking for a reason to take Battle Rager. And as a selling point to the subclass, this isn't it for one simple reason. The math says that if I am recklessing every turn to take advantage of this, I am losing more health than this is saving me.
That's true.
And there is our issue. Now, I'll be honest. Reckless Abandon's fine. It's an okay feature.
Right, it's okay.
Battle Rager Charge, on the other hand, is a bad feature. And I will tell you why.
Why would you outright consider... Which, for those that are not looking at the screen and just listening to the audio, Battle Rager Charge. You can take the dash action as a bonus action while raging.
I will tell you why. Tell you why. Tell you why. Because, what do I get? Give me a quick reminder here. What do I get if I take a 2-level dip and rogue?
You get Cunning Actions, which provides you being able to dash as a bonus action, disengage as a bonus action, and hiding as a bonus action.
Correct. So what you're telling me is that for a 10-level dip in Battle Rager, I get
basically
what I get for 2-level dip and rogue.
And you can't even use it right away because you have to rage and then dash.
It is worth noting that at this point in the game, when you rage, you get to move half your movement anyways. So there is some synergy with that. But I would argue... Also, it is good to keep in mind, we're a dwarf.
Yeah, we're down 5 feet, which is not massive, but could make the difference.
But what it really boils down to is... how to explain this delicately? This is supposed to be my selling points. Give me a reminder. So level 8 is a ASI. Level 9 is brutal critical, which we all know how I feel about that. I could just... Actually, no. I'm a level 8 Barbarian. I could just forgo 9 and 10. Basically, I could forgo my brutal critical and this to get, at the same point in the game, to get a bonus action dash.
Yep.
That's why this feature sucks.
Oh, no, here's the thing. I think it sucks, but I think it's fine. Like, it doesn't do anything harmful. I just wish it was better. Like, I agree with you. It sucks.
No subclass feature does something harmful. If that's the scale we're rating on, Ross, everything will pass with flying colors. We have to be more critical than that.
Right, no. Like, I agree this feature sucks.
Alright, let's start with Spike Retribution.
Yep.
Starting at 14th level, when a creature within 5 feet of you hits you with a melee attack, the attacker takes 3 piercing damage if you are raging, aren't incapacitated, and are wearing spiked armor. Now, hey, Ross, could you remind me? Crazy thought. What was the Berserker's 14th level feature again?
You just get a reaction attack when someone hits you, which more than likely is going to do a lot more damage. Because unless you're fighting specifically something like a Hydra or something with like a crazy number of attacks,
it's never going to add up.
Right, it's never going to. And even then, if you're taking, let's say, 8 to 10 hits from like a Hydra or something, you're probably, even with raging, your health is going down the drain for 3 piercing each time.
Yeah, it's not a good selling point.
No, not at all. And it's so restrictive. You cannot, you have to be specifically raging, which, in combat, you're going to probably be raging, hopefully. Aren't incapacitated, so that assumes, which, I mean, hey, fair enough.
I mean, here's the thing. If you're raging, you aren't incapacitated. That's like one of the rules.
Right. But then specifically spiked armor.
I mean, the entire subclass assumes you're wearing spiked armor, so I'm not going to hold that one against it.
Right.
Like, everything says, wearing spiked armor. That being said, it's not as good as what other subclasses offer. I think my rating on this subclass is probably not going to be a surprise, Ross. This is F tier.
Yeah, I wish it was better.
Bad. It's bad. It's really, really bad. And I I hate that it is bad, but it just is. Again, and I want to remind you, it's this bad and restricted to dwarves.
Yeah, and dwarves. Why? Like, come on. Like, why kick the dwarves down this much?
It's just the fact that it's like an exclusive club that absolutely nobody wants to join. So, okay, that's the Berserker, or rather the Battle Ranger.
Yep, and that one got me a little angry. So angry, in fact, I think we need to channel the spirits of our ancestors
The Ancestral Guardians, I assume.
and
Let's take a look.
Central Guardian. So
All right.
here is a fun case. Would you like to start with the first ability?
Starting when you choose this path at 3rd level, Spectral Warriors appear when you enter your rage. While you're raging, the first creature with an attack on your turn becomes the target of the warriors, which hinders its attacks. Until the start of your next turn, that target has disadvantage on any attack roll that isn't against you. And when the target hits a creature, that creature has resistance to the damage. The effect on the target ends early if your rage ends. This ability
This
is
is amazing for a barbarian.
Remember, our goal is to keep damage off of our and friends and keep them on us. And you know, we're making us an enticing target. But even if they're like, no, Jimmy the Wizard over there is looking very enticing because he's concentrating on that horrible hand that's grabbing my boss. Even if he does attack Jimmy the Wizard, who will have to make a concentration check, I'm sorry to say.
They have resistance to that damage.
Yeah,
and
it's going to be less because they can have resistance.
Something that I've never noticed about this feature, and that actually adds even more value to it, it doesn't specify weapon attack. So if, let's say you are able to hit a caster, and they decide to hit your friend with, let's just say, Firebolt, like as our example piece, that damage is also resisted.
True enough.
Which I've never noticed that, and...
there is something important to remember, though. And this is a rule that people often forget. You cannot have double resistance. So if
that
Jimmy
is true.
the Wizard is a tiefling, you're not getting them double fire resistance.
Right.
But still,
this is a great feature. This is, I think, at the very least, of the 3rd level features that we've looked at so far, Barbarian, this alone is S tier. This feature alone is S tier.
Let's take a look at Spirit Shield. So, beginning at 6th level, you can, if you are raging, and another creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to reduce that damage by 2d6. And it scales.
Woohoo!
By 14th level, 4d6, which...
And 10th level, 3d6.
Yeah, but how much level is 46 max? Maximize 46 for me, Ross.
That's 24.
24 damage. That could be the entire attack.
It can be. And keep in mind as well, there is no resource behind this. Which is something that's... Well, yeah. Reaction. I'm talking like something like the Psy Warrior, where you could use the reaction to reduce the damage a little bit by like a die roll. That's what I'm talking about. Like a feature, when I mean it doesn't have a resource, I'm talking like this is a limited number of times per day.
Yeah, no.
That's what I mean by that.
Yeah, I know. I just want to be clear. Yeah, it is your reaction, but keeping in mind what we know about this is, again, this does what a barbarian wants to do. Our friends are getting less hurt.
Yep.
And it's also making our friends a little less enticing to attack, potentially.
Oh, no, it absolutely is. Like, let's say a melee attacker is, you had already hit with your main attack, so now they have disadvantage. And let's say they attack Jimmy. Wasn't there an example piece, Jimmy?
Yeah, Jimmy the Tiefling Wizard.
Yeah, Jimmy the Tiefling Wizard. They attack him with the spear. Let's say it hits. Yeah. Reduce that by half. Rolls 2d6. And the average of 2d6 is like, what? I want to...
2d6 is 7.
7. 7 average damage. Like, that is absolutely crazy. Like,
yeah.
It's a reaction. So, like, you can't take an opportunity attack. I think this is worth using a reaction for. Like, this is pretty incredible.
All right. I'm going to kind of have to crank the mood down a bit because we're going to need to consult the spirits.
Of course. Lights candle.
Level, You gain the ability to consult with your spirits. When you do, you cast the augury or clairvoyance spell without using a spell slot or material component, rather than creating a spherical sense to the use of clairvoyance. Invisibly summons one of your ancestral spirits to the chosen location. Wisdom is your spellcast ability for those spells. And after you cast spells, either spell this way, you can't use this feature again until you finish a short or long rest. This ability kind of blows, and I'll tell you why. For a couple reasons. First off, odds are if you're a barbarian, there will be people in your party who have access to this spell. Heck, thanks to my barbarian not being the subclass, having the ritual caster feature, he has augury.
Right, and just to remind everyone, cleric, druid, and wizard get augury. Clairvoyance is accessed by bards, clerics, sorcerers, and wizards. So,
I mean, I will state,
I'll say there's a decent shot you have both these spells in your party already.
What I will say, though, is these are really cool roleplay stuff.
It is. This is all a roleplay feature, basically.
I'm not going to deny the ability has no use. I'm just saying it's not a selling point. But I'll be honest.
And, hey.
After 2 really solids, we can take something mid and take that.
And this is a fine feature. I don't think there's anything bad about it. It's fine. And now we have Vengeful Ancestors.
Continuing the theme of retaliating, at 14th level, your ancestral spirit grows powerful enough to retaliate. When you use your spirit shield to reduce the damage of an attack, the attacker takes an amount of force damage that your spirit shield prevents.
Which, keep in mind, now that's 46 at this level.
Yeah, could be 24.
And that, which we were talking, literally what we were talking about for the Battle Rager is the damage that is reflected onto enemies is just simply not as much as what would be for a normal reaction attack with a berserker. This
could be a reasonable attack.
Right. This is a reasonable attack, force damage, which not as many creatures are resistant, let alone immune to.
Yeah, but more importantly, this is happening not because you're getting attacked like the last 2 subclasses we looked at,
but because your allies are being attacked.
Which again is your goal as barbarians to prevent that at all costs. So, with all that in mind, it should go as no surprise that Ancestral is, I'm going to say yes.
I'm thinking this too. It's really good.
Well, it is really good, and it is not my absolute favorite Barbarian subclass.
Is that, out of curiosity, is that because of a gameplay mechanic or roleplay type deal?
I'm thinking only gameplay right now.
Okay.
I will tell you what it is when we get to it, and we're not too far off from it.
That's fine.
But for now, let's take a look at the...
We're going on our wild side.
Nope, you can't use that word because that's confusing.
Oh.
Yeah, because the other Barbarian subclass that we're not...
Time to howl at the moon.
Say the word beast.
Oh.
Also doesn't work, Ross. Howl at the moon doesn't work because that's another Barbarian subclass.
Is there another one that... Oh, goddamn.
Yes.
Okay.
Use the word beast.
We got Beast Barbarian. Okay.
Okay. This one is complicated.
This one, we got a good chunk of stuff to talk about.
So, when you choose this path at 3rd level, I'm just going to get right into it.
Okay, so we're not looking at the...
Yep. Not looking at what?
Oh, the Origin Beast thing, which I know it's like more flavor stuff, but...
That's just flavor.
Right.
I'll be honest, I'm going to... Playing the game, you can just literally ignore this table, so I'm not going to go over it. When you enter a rage, you can transform, revealing the beast's power within you until the rage ends. You manifest a natural weapon, it counts as a simple melee weapon for you, and you add your strength modifier to the attack and damage rolls when you attack as normal. You choose the weapon's form each time you rage. You can bite, which does 1d8 piercing damage, and once on each of your turns when you damage a creature with this bite, you regain a number of hit points equal to your proficiency bonus, provided you have less than half your hit points when you hit. Claws. Each of your hands transforms into claws, which gives weapons if it's empty. It does 1d6 slashing damage on a hit, and you can make an additional claw attack as part of the same action. That's not a bonus action, by the way.
Yeah, that specific wording means that level 3, this is the only option that doesn't use a resource. Well, correction, it does use a resource of rage. You get a reliable 2 attacks.
I mean, what we're basically saying is, without spending a point of exhaustion, you get what the Frenzy Barbarian has, but also you're not spending your bonus action, which is huge.
Right.
And then we get Tail. 1d8 has a 5 feet reach, and if a creature you can see within 10 feet of you hits you with an attack roll, you can use your reaction to swipe your tail and roll a d8, applying a bonus to your AC equal number rolled, potentially causing the attack to miss.
Keep in mind,
So,
and I'm going to make this clear for the video because there have been some confusion I've heard over the years about this specific weapon attack. And no, the AC does not stack. My assumption, and I'm assuming the game designer's assumption, is that it only works for that single attack that you use your reaction to block.
that is correct. Yes.
I wanted to bring that up before we said anything, because like that's been like this subclass is, I don't know, drama. No, that's not the right word. But you know what I'm saying.
Here's the thing. So really, what these are doing is these are all really great damage dealers.
Correct.
These are weapons, and they all do something kind of cool. So I will say, and there is reasons to take any, although I will say, I probably wouldn't take the tail.
I feel like it really just depends on how you're feeling, because all of them have their own situational bonuses. I think
True.
Majority of the time,
You want Claw.
yeah, majority of the time I would want Claw. If a combat starts, and by the time that the combat starts, I have like
Less than half health.
Yeah, less than half health. The bite one would not be bad, because this is one of the very few healing options that Barbarian gets for themselves, and healing is really nice. Even if it's just your proficiency per attack,
True enough.
that's still pretty good.
And playing as like a damp here beast barbarian.
Would that stack?
No, there would be different bite attack. It would be weird.
Okay.
But it would be ways to get more healing out of it. Anyways, Bestial Soul.
Yeah, Bestial Soul. I think for level 3, pretty good. We have plenty of. It gives the player a lot of options.
6th level, our natural weapons are magical, which honestly, if you're going to get
Woohoo.
natural weapons, you kind of have to do that.
Woohoo!
And you can alter your form to help you adapt to your surroundings. When you finish a short or long rest, choose one of the following benefits of classes to tell you do it again.
Yep.
Swimming speed and breathing underwater. Climbing speed, basically being Spider-Man.
Yep.
And
the last one.
When you jump, you can make a strength athletics check and extend your jump equal to it.
Okay, so let's be honest. The last one you're never going to pick.
You're never going to pick because 2014 D&D 5-piece jump rules are god-awful.
Right. I will say one part of this feature which I've never been a massive fan of, is how when you initially trigger it. How you normally trigger it, and you read, is after you finish a short or long rest, then you pick it. I wish this feature was, okay, once per short or long rest, you can trigger this ability inside of you to be able to do one of these two things. And I wish it was like that, because you don't know what you're going into every day. So you're really making an assumption.
I'm going to counter that, Ross.
Okay.
I'm going to counter that hard. As we established, you're really picking from 1 and 2, right?
Right. Which, both of these are good. So having a swimming speed and then having a climb speed, both good.
Let me finish. 9 times out of 10, you know if you're going towards water on a day or if you're going to climb a building. Because that's really the question. Am I swimming today? Nope. Then pick the other one.
That's fair. That is absolutely fair.
I think it would actually be way too overpowered if you could change them after you learn some special twist the DM has for you. And it also means that the choice is meaningless.
That's true.
What does it matter if you can... What does it matter if you have to choose between them if you can just switch it as soon as you know you need the other one more? It renders the feature meaningless and just means it basically might as well have them all the time.
Okay.
No.
That's absolutely fair. And I think this feature in general is fine. Again, the last feature...
I do have a counter to this feature. Because there is something. This is a good feature. It's not bad. But the issue is, everything it does, if you have a good spellcaster willing to help you out in your party, can be resolved elsewise.
I was thinking about that as well. Although, I will say that there is some points for the subclass because, water breathing is a spell that a good number of
No,
classes get.
no,
They don't provide a swim speed, which
you're
is
right. No,
something that is important.
you're right. Like I said, this is not worthless. I also want to point
Right.
out a little OP thing. We were talking about Dampiers before.
Oh, that's true. That's true. So you could literally just always pick the swim because Dampier will give you what you need.
Yeah. It is also worth noting that Dampiers can also always breathe underwater because they don't actually breathe. But
So wait, the only option that's gonna give us any value is the jump.
no, the swimming speed. They don't get a swimming speed.
That's true. That's true.
You probably don't know this because you've been playing with my homebrew swimming rules for as far as you know, long as you know, right?
Oh, was that homebrew? I thought that was
My
official.
swimming rules are homebrew, yes.
Oh, what are the official rules then?
Horribly, horribly punishing. Basically, any and all weapons can only be any ranged weapons can only be used at their minimum range.
Yep.
Unless you're using a crossbow or a javelin or something similar to those two things, so not a bow itself. All attacks will have disadvantage unless you have a swim speed.
Oh, all attacks. Okay.
I think spell attacks are kind of exempt, but they're weird. Anyways.
But okay.
Yeah. So being able to give yourself a swim speed as a barbarian is huge.
Yeah, that's absolutely huge. And now we have Infectious
Fury.
Fury.
When you hit a creature with your natural weapons while you are raging, which is the only time you have your natural weapons.
Right.
The target must, wisdom saving throw, or suffer one of the following. The target must use its reaction to make a melee attack against another creature that you can see. The target takes 2d12 psychic damage.
And you could use this a number of times equal to your proficiency and regain all of them on long rest. And
I have two things to bring up here. First off,
okay.
Flavor fail. This has no flavor with the bestial barbarian we're playing as. But it is a good ability.
I was going to say, the flavor that Yumba, shout out to Yumba, had mentioned that he believes that this is based off of, it's based off of you infecting the enemy with basically rabies.
That's not how rabies work.
Right, I know, but...
Like, even using that logic, this is a flavor fail.
Right. It doesn't quite hit the flavor.
I want to state, again, we're judging this gameplay, and this is a good ability.
Oh, yeah, no.
It does not gel with the rest of the subclass, I'm going to be clear. But I'll be honest.
It's still good. It's extra damage.
Abilities, at least it's good. Honestly, I wouldn't do for the 2d12. I would go for the first one.
I mean, either way, it's more damage because the reaction to attack an enemy, there's a chance. And the only reason why I lean a little more to the 2d12, and we've had conversations about this before, there's a chance that an enemy is not going to be within that range of 5 feet. Like, they're not going to be grouped up.
You are correct. In that case, it would be the 2d12, but I think
right.
If it is viable to do so, I will always go for the melee attack.
Absolutely.
Anyways,
well, real quick, one good reaction thing, like the top one, do you know what that's really good for? Hitting a spellcaster. You hit a spellcaster, they fail this save, they're forced to use their little staff or whatever to hit yourself.
Because
you can choose yourself.
You cannot. It says another. You cannot choose themselves.
No. Ourself, the barbarian.
Speaking of, do you know what else this is good for? Burning reaction.
That's what I was talking about for like a spellcaster that can't use shield. Or whatever reaction spell they have.
Honestly, no. Here's the you're thinking two spellcaster.
That's true.
You want to know whose reactions I want to burn? If my wizard is right next, remember Jimmy the wizard, the tiefling we talked about earlier? He's standing right next to that big hulking demon. It's a Bulgura, by the way.
Yeah, getting rid of the reaction so they can run away. That's also smart.
Exactly. I'll be honest, and I'm going to remind Jimmy the Tiefling to stop standing right next to the bloody Bulgura. Anyways,
And now we
we
have
can
the
help.
final feature.
Call of the Hunt.
The capstone
At
feature for the subclass. Let's see what we
14th
got.
level, the beast within you. When you enter your rage, you can choose a number of other willing creatures you can see within 30 feet but equal to your con modifier. I gain 5 temporary hit points for each creature that accepts this feature. I am a 20 con barbarian here.
Yep.
So 5. That's 15. That's really nice. The chosen creatures can use the following benefit once on each of their turn. When the creature hits a target with an attack roll and deals damage to it, the creature can roll a d6 and gain a bonus to the damage equal to the number rolled. Keep in mind, that's attack roll, not melee or weapon attack roll. That means that our spellcasters can get the benefit from this as well.
Once on each guiding bolt. I'm trying to think of other good attack roll based. I mean, we gotta talk about if you have a warlock, 1 extra d6 for Eldritch Blast.
Yeah, a bunch of things.
Right, a bunch of things, a bunch of options, and you could use this number of times equal to your proficiency. Which, that's a pretty. Okay, how many party members are we assuming here?
I mean, 5. We're assuming 5. We're assuming
okay. Let's assume maximum.
Party, yeah.
That's for the barbarian alone. Let's not look at the other effect just yet. Equal to a proficiency. So level 14 is like what? Proficiency 5, or is it 4? I think it's 5.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go based off of 5. That's 125 temp HP. I mean, you're not gonna use this in the same combat.
No, but you're right. But what really helps with this, what's really good about this, until the age ends, the chosen creature. Okay, good. It's not tied to your temp HP, so you can lose temp HP.
Yep.
I think that honestly, that being able to spread around some damage is really cool.
Oh no, it's amazing.
So here are my thoughts. This is a good subclass.
It is.
I'm gonna put it in A, not S.
I am in absolute agreement.
For a couple reasons. Well, this is a good subclass. What it does is not really what we're looking for in a barbarian. Not really.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't give us anything that helps us extra with tanking.
Yeah.
But it does provide some pretty decent benefits.
All right, here we go. Speaking of tanking, remember when I said, "Oh, let's just take a look at this." There's no.
The gods are looking down at us, and we're just screaming, "Fuck you!"
Yes. We are.
I'm just trying to do like a little intro thing for the subclasses. I think it's fun.
Okay, I'm just gonna go through this one because I suspect everyone suspected this. Starting when you choose this path, while you're raging, the first creature on each of your turns with weapon attack takes extra damage equal to 1d6 plus half my barbarian level.
Which is either necrotic or radiant, your choice.
True. But you choose the type of damage when you gain this feature, so keep that in mind.
Right, so you can't swap it out. And I feel like it depends a lot more on the. I think it depends on the campaign. If I'm going to go with something like Curse of Strahd, I'd probably pick Radiant. And I'm trying to think of like a campaign in top of my head that I would benefit a lot more from Necrotic. But both of them are good options.
Divine Fury is great. It's okay, but it's nothing that our buddy the Beast Barbarian wasn't getting.
Right.
But let me talk about Warrior of the Gods, which we get at the same level. And this feature speaks to exactly what the Zealot Barbarian lets you play. At 3rd level, your soul is marked for endless battle. If a spell such as Raise Dead that has the sole effect of restoring you to life, but not on death, the caster doesn't need material components to cast the spell on you. That's right! We are offering a Revivify, a Raise Dead, at the low price of free.
Yep.
You go down. Now, here's what this does. This tells you right now, provided your party is of 5th level, so that your cleric can,
correct,
still cast Revivify, you are allowed to be reckless as much as you want. Because who cares if you go down? And as a reminder, most DMs do not play with Matt Mercer's Fading Light rules.
I actually don't know what the Fading Light rule is.
I will do a quick explanation. It's not really relevant to the studio, but basically it's like every time you revive someone, there's a skill check. and every time that you die, the skill check gets higher. The DC for the skill check is higher.
What happens if you fail it? Like, is it just you're permanently dead,
Either
or
revive. Okay, I'll go. So if you fail it with a revivify can no longer restore. You're gonna need a raise dead. Fail with a raise dead, you're gonna need to go. Basically, you need to go one tier higher. And if you fail it with every possible reviving spell, it's done.
okay, okay,
But again, those are homebrew.
right? Those are
first-party.
homebrew rules. I was just curious, and
Right.
yeah, no,
But
this
again,
this
they're not
already.
so
So
what that basically means is you can go down as much as you want.
yep. So far, we're not getting anything to help our tanking with allies. Although, getting raised for free, that's always nice. And
What it does is right. It doesn't help. It doesn't help the tanking itself. But what it does do is it means that we can be as reckless as we want. We can
yep,
be as in the fray as we want. And you will notice as this subclass goes on that is the flavor it sticks to. So let's go to
right.
fanatical focus.
Fanatical
The divine
focus.
power that fuels your rage. If you fail a saving throw while raging, you can reroll it. You must use the reroll. You can use the ability once for rage. Not crazy.
Not crazy, but it's always nice considering, we're a barbarian. Let's say there's a saving throw that might potentially get us stunned and we fail it initially.
Yep.
This is always good for stuff like that. It's not crazy, but it's always going to be used.
Yep. But let's get to another really cool ability. Zealous Presence. At
Yep.
10th level, you learn to channel divine power to inspire zealotry in others. As a bonus action, you unleash a battle cry infused with divine energy. Up to 10 other creatures of your choice within 60 feet of you that can hear you gain advantage on attack rolls and saving throws until the start of your next turn. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again.
Until long rest. This is we're in the final fight.
I mean, yeah,
we need a dogpile on this now.
Let's boil it down for a second. So first off, turn 1 in a fight, you rage, obviously. That's what your bonus action is used for.
Yep.
You're a barbarian. What are you thinking? But turn 2 and beyond, at any point you can go, get everyone in and get a really good advantage. And hey, your rogue appreciates it. Terry the Rogue?
Yep.
I'm Terry the Rogue. I know that you don't see me much because I'm Terry the Rogue. That's kind of my whole thing. Thanks for the advantage, though.
And I do want to bring up again, because we were talking about this for the other part. This doesn't specify only weapon attacks, so casters are also gaining the benefit of advantage of attack rolls. Like,
I mean, the real thing here is the save, so let's be real.
That's also true. Yeah, saving throws are really important. And I also want to bring up 10 creatures is a lot.
It is probably more than your party.
Right. More than likely, it's more than your party, unless you're in a scenario where, let's say, keep in mind, we're 2014. Let's say we have a druid of conjure animals or something like that.
But let's be real. We're talking about these lists, and honestly, all of this stuff combined, I can see it being high B with all this.
Right.
But let's talk about what knocks this subclass right up to the top of S. What makes it hands down the best barbarian
beyond death.
So, let me just read this. While you're raging, having 0 hit points does not knock you unconscious. You still make death saves, and you suffer the normal effects of taking damage without 0 hit points. However, if you would die due to failing the death saving throws, you don't die until your rage ends. And you die then only if you still have 0 hit points. So let's break this down. So first off, as a 14th level barbarian, you're gonna have a little cool feature that lets you basically make saves.
Yep.
So you have that. So you won't die right away either. Okay, I believe that's when barbarians get it. I want to make sure I'm right about this. Let me look at my features. Rage, primal magic, awareness, melted feet, extra attack.
I mean, this provides so much tanking for your team that it is absurd.
But let me break it down. Let me go back to breaking it down. So I want to make sure something. Yeah. So 11th level, you get relent rate. So you're gonna have to make several saves before you even get to this point. But now you're at this point. And it was like, ha! I got your arbitrary hit point meter to 0. Ha ha ha! Like, I don't care about my arbitrary hit point meter unless you can do over my 150 health points of damage right now in one attack. I'm still up, baby.
Which is not. It's gonna be very
hard to do.
One of the few ways that you would do it, be able to have that happen, and this is technically homebrew because of your rules, the Barbarian would have to critically fail a saving throw against a spell.
Again, we are judging by main
Right,
rules, so let's
right.
not
No,
even
like
qualify that.
right. No,
But
I'm just saying that's one of the only examples of a point where all the HP is going down to 0, and
so,
yeah. Here's the thing.
and let's carry on.
The subclass
Mhm.
doesn't provide crazy amount of tanking. The only benefit tanking wise to your allies is the saving
It
throws.
sounds like you're doing
However,
closures.
wait, sorry. Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
was jumping ahead. Sorry.
I was still getting to like the rest of this one feature because this feature is like the bread and butter.
Sorry.
So, even once you fail 3 death saves, you're still up. So
Yep.
keep that in mind. And then, the butter on top of all of that is all it takes is once the fight is over, before your rage drops, you make the satisfying pops can sound, take a swig of lovely healing potion soda.
Or ally heals you for any
True.
healing spell.
Whatever would be the least intensive resource-wise at the time.
Yep.
And nothing happened to you. You are, for all intents and purposes, invincible.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to put a caveat. There are a couple features that can still take you down because of some very annoying ways about how they're worded, like a Beholder's Death Ray or a Disintegrate spell.
Would the mind flare actually? No, you wouldn't be able to rage because isn't the mind flares consuming brain thing only work if you are stunned?
Correct. That is another
And that would
caveat.
that would end your rage, so this wouldn't be active anyway.
That is another very
So okay.
important caveat here. Yes. If you are incapacitated, you are down. But if you can avoid those effects, and here's what I'll tell you right now. You know how you avoid getting incapacitated, my friend? Use your fanatical focus.
Yep.
Use it. Anyways, yes, if that happens, you are down. But again, keep in mind, that is a select few situations, and building your character correctly and giving yourself stuff like resilient wisdom or just being good at saves and finding ways to make yourself good at those.
Yep.
Or heck, any number of things will absolutely keep this from being an issue. And again, that is why this is mechanically my favorite Barbarian subclass.
And that's absolutely fair. I agree. The only thing I'll say that I was gonna add extra is this: the only thing that this provides, ability-wise, for tanking for your team, like supporting them, is the 10th level where you get to give them, what is it, advantage for saving throws.
True.
However, tanking, even though we're not having enemies choose to pick us directly, Rage Beyond Death, yeah, you see that fucking demon? I'm not stepping away from you. You are fucking dealing with me.
I mean, what you gotta remember...
Which that is important to factor.
Here is the thing to remember, especially once you get Relentless Rage. Here is something to remember about Zealot. If every single other member of your party is out, the bad guy's still only hope is to wait you out.
Right.
And here's the thing. And here's a scenario for you. You get like 5 rages in a day, right?
Yes.
Say, for of course this example, at that high level where you'd have that ability. 5 rages in a day. Okay. So you go for your first rage. The entire party is wiped out, maybe even dead. You rage. Bonus action rage. Attack. And the enemy just waits you out. Your rage runs out. You know what you do on the next turn? Drink a potion.
Yep.
Or the rage runs out. And then bonus action rage.
Yeah, no. I don't know why I randomly had a timer for 9 o'clock. Anyway. Yeah, no. This is S tier. Do we think it's better than Ancestral?
Yes.
I think it's... Yeah. Yeah, I think it is.
I think it is hands down the best Barbarian subclass in the game.
Now, Pleeps, I don't know if you're looking outside or not, but I did you hear on the news? Apparently, there's a big storm that's coming.
I mean, that winter storm, yeah. Okay, let's take a look at some. I
Path
mean, you know what?
of the Storm Herald.
You could have let me cut my bit.
Oh, I thought your bit finished. Sorry.
No, I was be like, you know what the news really did was herald that storm.
Oh, God. Okay,
Whatever. Okay.
sorry.
This is another complicated one because they really like making barbarians complicated. So let's just talk about it.
Yep.
You get an aura when you rage.
It extends out to 10 feet, and
Hmm?
I know this is technically looking later on. I don't believe this aura changes reach.
What?
So I stuck at 10 feet around you. So for simplicity's sake, 2 tiles around us.
Anyways,
Anyway.
let's not do tiles because remember maps are not official rules. They're a whole other thing.
Oh,
So
that's
let's not
true.
assume that everyone uses maps. Instead, let's just say what it says: 10 feet. That's pretty good.
Yep, 10 feet's pretty solid, but does not go through cover.
When this effect is activated, so Desert Aura, all other creatures in your aura take 2 fire damage. It is worth noting that there is no way to distinguish between
Enemies or allies, which is something that is important.
It
and
is
this
also worth noting that it's not overtime. It's just one and done. Two fire damage. But
Yep.
it does go up to the maximum at 6 at 20th level.
Yeah, so not
Then we get
a lot of damage. C.
Then we get C. You can choose one other creature that you can see in your aura. They make a dex save, and they take a d6 of lightning damage on a failed save, and the damage increases to 46 at 20th level. This is okay.
Yeah. And then
Tundra. Each creature gets temporary hit points. I'm gonna be honest. This 3rd level ability is kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, I wish it's. I personally.
It's not even scaling. This sucks when you get it.
Yeah. I mean, it gives all 3 options are a use of your bonus action.
True. Here's what I will say. I think I would pick. Let me tell you this. Your aura has when you enter rage, you can activate the effect. Oh, okay. That's what you remember. Oh, you know what? Never mind. I was reading the ability wrong. My opinion changes.
Oh, okay.
I still think the only good one is C. But the fact that you can activate them at the end of every turn or at every turn is helpful. But
I think I would personally pick C more often. Although we gotta keep in mind, Tundra, this would apply temporary HP to your allies. However, again, the small range of 10 feet.
Yeah, but let's go look at Storm Soul because I'll be honest. Again, I Storm Aura I don't care for. Storm Soul, on the other hand.
Storm Soul, which by the way, I do want to bring up because this is important.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a choice every time. Once you start off with one of these, I believe you're stuck with it for the rest of the game.
You can change your aura every level.
Oh, can you?
Yes.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay. Keep that in mind.
But alright, so you basically get benefits even when your aura isn't active. The benefits are based on the environment you chose for your Storm Aura. So if you pick Desert, you get resistance to fire damage. And you don't suffer the effects of extreme heat. Moreover, as an action, you can touch a flammable object that isn't being worn or carried by anyone else and set it on fire. I'll be honest, this is actually really good. C, you gain resistance to lightning damage, and you can breathe underwater. You get a swim speed of 30 feet.
Again, we were just talking about how being underwater sucks for a barbarian, so this could be very helpful.
And Tundra, you gain resistance to cold damage. Don't take this to happen. And you can touch water and turn 5-foot cube of it into ice, which melts after 1 minute. You can basically create a path over water.
Isn't this just what's that cantrip? The control water?
No, it's better. It's better.
Oh, is this better?
Yeah.
Right,
this is walkable. This is walkable.
Can you walk on control water's ice as well?
No.
I thought you could.
Nope.
So
I want to talk about this. This ability is really good. And I will state right now, as a barbarian, anything that can give you damage resistances are always going to really upend the barbarian skill.
Yep. And these are pretty reliable damages.
But without spoiling anything, these are overshadowed.
They are overshadowed. I'll
So
say,
I'm going to state right now that ultimately means the selling point to these Storm Souls needs to be the very thing that the secondary effect and the secondary effects aren't really that good.
so here's something that I was thinking, and now this I think would fall under potentially someone homebrewing this.
Mm-hmm.
But I was reading, whenever you were talking about the desert one, I thought of something fun where, let's say you're holding a weapon that is flammable, and catch it on fire and use it yourself. Would you consider adding a little bit of extra fire damage to the attacks with that?
You're correct. That
Right.
is absolutely something I would love to do for them.
Right. It sounds like a cool flavor. It sounds like a cool thing you
But
could do. But
and
again,
as we are
that would be
talking
homebrew stuff. That would be something that would be
high
more
table,
homebrew.
the rules as written is once you set something on fire, it is gone. Done.
Oh, that's how the rules work.
Yes.
I did not know that. Good to know. Uh,
So let's take a
6
look at
levels
shielding
okay.
storm.
Not cool, but not crazy.
Each creature of your choice has
Shielding
each
storm.
creature of your choice has the damage you gain from the storm. So this is actually really good. It's really good. However, I need to give it the asterisk of being super situational.
Yep.
It's only good when you know you're going to be dealing with that damage.
That is absolutely correct. And also, you gotta keep in mind as well,
Hmm?
everyone is around you, so even though you're providing resistance, that fireball that's about to hit you is still gonna do a good bit of damage.
Shielding storm has no range limit. It's not tied to the aura at all. The only abilities tied to the aura
It says
are
while the creature is in your storm aura.
Did I?
Very last little bit of that.
Oh, you're correct. My bad. Yeah, that really
It
does
holds
lower it.
it holds it back, but hey, getting resistances for, let's say, uh what dragon's blue? Or actually no. Let's go for a fire dragon. And let's say the room isn't big enough to where we can all spread out to where can get out of it. Hey, I mean, it's resistance. That's cool.
So let's take a look at Raging Storm to finish this off.
Yep, the final ability.
So you basically get to use a reaction to do stuff, is what it boils down to. Except for Tundra, but we'll get to that. Immediately after a creature hits you in your aura, this is desert, hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to force that creature to make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes fire damage equal to half your barbarian level. Which isn't good. For C, when you hit a creature in your aura with an attack, you can use a reaction to force them to make a strength saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is knocked prone as if struck by a wave, which you're never going to get to take advantage of. And also, you losing your reaction to do this.
I mean, the only other benefit I would say for the C one is, let's say it's a scenario where an enemy had to run up all the way to you using their movement. You knock them prone with this, potentially, even though it's a strength save. And then on your turn, you have advantage on them because they're right next to you prone. But that is assuming a good number of factors.
You're also hurting a bunch of your other party members, potentially, if you're the main melee guy.
Yeah.
Because remember, range attack... Yeah, no.
That is also true.
Whenever the effect of your storm aura is activated, you can choose one creature you can see in that aura. That creature must see on a strength saving throw, or its speed is reduced to 0 until the start of your next turn. As magical frost covers it.
The Tundra run is the best one if we're looking at tanking.
Yeah, what I will say is Tundra outclasses C by far. Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
So, I hate to say this, because this is my first real close look at Storm Heralds. Storm Herald's bad. It's not as bad as Battle Rager. I think I will mark it with a D.
Yeah, I think it's just... I don't think it's outright bad. I just think it's very underwhelming. I feel like that's what's wrong with it. That's underwhelming. And now we can talk about feeling wild.
And this is what I've actually played.
Correct.
So,
This one gets a little complicated, but work with us here.
not really.
Well,
Not really.
I mean, we got to read a good bit of stuff for a level 3 feature. Because
So,
we have to read the table.
so let's, you know what, before we even go, let's go with our first level 3 feature, which is super underwhelming, and I will tell you, I never use, except for, like, as small flavor things.
Magic.
You can open your awareness to the presence of concentrated magic. Until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any spell or magic item within 60 feet that isn't behind total cover. When you sense a spell, you learn which school of magic it belongs to. And you can use this feature a number of times, including your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest.
This is just detect magic, just on a where's everything?
It's detect magic, but it only lasts for one turn.
Yeah, but I mean, it could be a quick blip. So I mean, it's nice to have in your back pocket to where your casters don't have to have it.
But I am using my action for this. And again,
no, I would not use this in combat. I wouldn't use this in combat. I would just be like...
Let me tell you something. But here's the issue. I think combat is the only viable place to use it. At least in most standard parties. Detect magic is a ritual spell.
That's true.
Out of the pressure of combat, and presuming you have a ritual caster in your party, and even if you don't, it's just going to last so much longer out of combat being cast by someone who actually can carry it around with them for the full hour.
Okay, there is another benefit of this that we could consider.
Again, it is competing with detect magic, so keep that in mind.
Yep. When you use this in combat, let's say either we have a character that has a magic weapon or a spellcaster that has something that, like, let's say a magical wand of, I don't know, magic missile.
Okay.
This would detect those items to where it's like the Barbarian could attempt to try to remove those items off those people.
You'd think, right? You'd think it would do that, right?
Would it not?
It doesn't.
Why wouldn't it?
Because of the fine, bloody print. This evil ability. That isn't behind total cover.
Wait. Don't tell me that if someone is holding an object that we can visually see with our hands counts as total cover.
Ross, can I ask you a question? If I am visibly holding a wand of magic missiles that you can visibly see with your hands, do you really need special senses for you to know I have it?
That's a very good point.
Exactly. The only time that this would be valid would be to find something hidden. But it can only tell you stuff
that isn't behind total cover.
Yeah. Detect magic, on the other hand, which again is its main competitor, can see those things.
That is such a...
Right? Right?
Come on, I tried to find value. Look,
no,
Paladin...
No, as someone who's literally playing this guy, this subclass is trash.
Yeah, no, I played it once for a one-shot, and Eve isn't here, but Eve has played her Wild Magic Barbarian a good number of times. I can't tell you how many she has, but she's played it a good number of times.
But I have played one for 19 levels.
Right, yeah, no. You went through it.
So I think when I am telling you that a Wild Magic Barbarian feature is useless...
Look, I wanted to try to find something good for it.
No. Here's the thing, Ross, and believe me, as someone who has played a Wild Magic Barb,
you've tried.
I have looked for reasons that this ability is good other than quick flavor. The honest answer is quick flavor, and if the DMs are being nice.
Okay.
So, but to be fair, that's not what we're here for.
No.
Let's talk about the wild search. Before we even read the events on the table, I want to say, unlike our buddy, our cousin, Jerry the Wild Magic Sorcerer.
Hi, I'm Jerry.
Yep. Unlike him, we have a weird party. We have Terry the Rogue, Jimmy the Wizard, and Jerry, the specifically wild magic sorcerer. Unlike him, all of these are positive, ultimately.
Correct.
Whereas obviously some horrible stuff can happen to Jerry over there. Like remember last combat when he was a pot of plants? Helped us absolutely none.
Yeah, I remember that. By the way, I'm a cast magic missile. Ah! He got hit by a fireball.
Give me a second. Get that save. Thankfully, I have advantage. Shame that my. Thanks, a 9. Ow!
Anyway, sorry for that.
Unlike him, our Wild Surge is all positive.
Yep, and real quick, I do want to.
Every time we rage, we roll on the table.
Yep. I will say as well, unlike some of the stuff we've looked at before, this is going based off of our Constitution for DC stuff.
It's all DCs have been Constitution.
No, not all of them.
Yep, all of them.
No, yep. Berserk.
Okay, Berserker was the one exception, but his ability sucked. Everything else outside of DC has been Constitution.
I thought there was another one. Either way, still one of them was a difference, so I wanted to bring it up.
But why didn't we bring it up for any of the others?
Because I didn't notice.
Anyways, carry on. Yes. Yeah. So let's go in order.
Yep.
So number 1, each creature of your choice that you can see within 30 feet, you must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take 1d12 of necrotic damage. You also gain 1d12 of temporary hit points. Now, this one is okay, but I will be honest. At this point in the game, not the one you're really hoping for. We'll get back to that.
Right.
That was like 12 temporary hit points. Ain't nothing to sniff at.
No. Well, also, I do want to bring up, because some of these you can do multiple times. This one is only once.
That's exactly
as soon as you rage.
That's why you're not looking for it.
Right.
You teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see until your rage ends. You can use this effect again on each of your turns as a bonus action.
Okay. Getting a good bit of teleporting to get around the map better. That's always handy.
Yeah, it is absolutely. It has been a lifesaver for me on certain occasions.
And for a bonus action, pretty good.
It is. For me personally, it's been some of the only reasons I've been able to do any damage. An intangible spirit, which looks like a flump or pixie, your choice, appears within 5 feet of one creature of your choice.
Okay, now we're recording. Oh. I was expecting
your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you. At the end of the current turn, the spirit explodes and each creature within 5 feet of it must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take a d6 of force damage until your rage ends. You can use this effect again, summoning another spirit on each of your turns as a bonus action.
So
I will say, because I can speak from experience in this one, relying on dex can hurt a lot of creatures.
It can. And it's a good, let's say reliably, because you can hit multiple creatures with this. Technically, at most, with a medium-sized creature, you'll be able to hit 8, but I'm assuming we're not going to get 8 every time. Let's say, reliably, you can get 1 to 2, maybe 3.
2 is usually,
but let's say 2.
2 is usually the amount I get with this.
Which is pretty good. Bonus action, hit 2 creatures for a d6 of force damage. Like I said before, not resisted that much. That's pretty solid.
Alright, but we're not done. So then, for a 4, magic infuses one weapon of your choice that you are holding until your rage ends. I will also state right now, we are not doing this for the wild magic sorcerer when we get to it.
Oh yeah, no, the list is way too long. I mean, we could, if we wanted, for the sorcerer one, we could write down a list of okay, which ones do we want to point out, but we're not going to do the whole list.
That's too much effort. The weapon's type changes to force and it gains the light and thrown properties, with a normal range of 20 feet and a long range of 60 feet. And if the weapon leaves your hand, the weapon reappears in your... Basically, we
get a Thor weapon. Just yeet.
True.
And honestly, that's pretty cool.
What's important about this is it means that your range basically increases by a lot.
It's a solid increase. And, again, our weapon changes to force. Force is reliable.
Whenever a creature hits you with an attack roll before your rage ends, that creature takes 1d6 of force damage. as magic lashes out in retribution.
And this is a very good feature for one simple reason. Or one very this is a very good option on this table for a particular reason.
You're the barbarian. You're
Well,
right
yeah.
in their face.
Right, we're a barbarian, and this does not require a reaction.
Correct.
So, I mean, yeah, that's simply why it is. And 1d6
Yeah.
is force damage
We'll
is better
get
than
back
yeah.
to that.
Yeah,
I'll say
anyway.
1d6 right now is really good. We'll get back to that because I
Yeah.
have thoughts. Then we get to the 1, and then we get 6 and 7, which both kind of do the same thing. Kind of. 6 is you get an aura that gives the DC an AC increase of 1 to everyone within you and you yourself.
Yep. I mean,
That's pretty
plus
useful.
what AC. I mean, that's always handy.
And slow your enemies a bit. And then 8. This is honestly one of the best, the one you really want to get off.
This one's the
Which you get.
funnest one.
Another creature you're within 30 feet, con save, 1d6 radiant damage, and blind until the start of your next turn. So you do that, and then if they fail, you can whack them inside the head a couple times.
Yep.
With an
And
advantage without going there.
this is these last few of them, these last 3, are what provides this barbarian with a little bit more tanking feature for ally, because blinding, disadvantage. A little AC boost, good.
Well, you say that, I will be honest.
Okay.
The ones I want, because I've actually played the subclass.
Yes, of course.
The ones I look for are at this level that we're currently on. We'll get back
level
to
3.
As I would look for 8, number 1. 8's my priority.
Yeah, 8's really good.
If I can't get 8, I'd like 3.
Yep, for more damage.
And if I can't get that, 4 and 2 are fine. 5 is good, and I'll take 6 and 7 because I have to. But that is my priority list because that's what I get the most benefit from my style with.
That's fine.
That being said, there is a caveat I need to point out.
Okay.
And this is kind of a true shame, especially what other subclasses we've looked at today. The damage your wild surges do not
scale. Yep.
At all.
That is the one Achilles foot to this first level ability. None of these scale.
And so as we go on, my priority list is going to shift. I'm actually going to be really looking for number 1 to start with, and number 8. Everything else I can take or leave.
Well, you say start with. I think we'll leave that on the table for now. Like that. No. That's what I was gonna say. We're gonna let that sit for right now.
Yeah. All right.
Bolstering magic.
Ability is good, but
I thought
we need to drive bolstering magic. We're moving on bolstering magic. I need to point out one important detail that is stupid. Everything about this ability uses
a D3,
which you probably don't have.
No, it's
stupid. It's very stupid.
I agree. It's very stupid.
But let's talk about what this does. So, this is your main support ability. As an action, for 10 minutes, the creature can roll a D3 whenever making an attack roll or an ability check and add the number rolled to the D20 roll.
Yep.
That's great. You've basically done Guidance Bless. And then we got roll a D3. The creature regains 1 expended spell slot, the level of which equals the number rolled or lower, the creature's choice. Once a creature receives this benefit, that creature can't receive it again until after a long rest. So, this ability is weird in how it works. Not just the fact that it uses a D3, but it is a support ability. So the way I generally use it is I will go and before a big fight, I will offer to restore spell slots and I will offer to enhance the attack rolls of the marshals.
That's what I was going to say. This is not a in-combat feature. Even though it does say it costs an action, this is not an combat feature.
Keep in mind that you can bolster yourself. So if you are a big melee dealer, you probably want to bolster yourself.
Oh, I never noticed you could do it to yourself.
You can, yeah.
I never noticed that. But yeah, no.
And now...
Again, D3, really?
Yeah, and now we get to Unstable Backlash.
Here we go.
At 10th level, when you are in peril during your rage, which means take damage or fail a saving throw, you can use your reaction to roll in the wild magic table and immediately produce the effect rolled. It replaces your current wild magic effect. Now this is what I mean when I said I wanted 1 to start.
Yep.
You get 1, you get the 10 hit points, and then you roll again to get some other effect.
And I want to bring up, because this is a very important wording thing here, you can use your reaction to
True.
change it.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
you could get the blinding one and not want to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to.
I will tell you, actually, because this matters. Because of the way my playstyle with my Wild Magic Barbarian is, I gave him dual wielder, so his bonus action's kind of eaten up.
Right.
Because of the way that playstyle now is, I honestly basically only use a Wild Surge when I initially rage, and when I use this reaction. There is something important to consider, though, because I'll be honest. You are going to get more bang for your buck 9 times out of 10 using your reaction to make an attack of opportunity if it's on the table. So before you use Unstable Backlash, ask yourself, is an attack of opportunity on the table? If yes, I wouldn't bother. If no, go for it, because 9 times out of 10, they can make your saves.
Right.
And
now we get...
Yeah, Unstable Backlash is fine, though, if you keep that in mind.
Yes. Controlled Surge. Whenever you
it's
roll on the Wild Magic table, this is from...
twice,
Yep. Unstable...
and choose 2 effects to unleash. If you roll the same number on both dice, you can ignore the number and choose any effect on the table.
This is anytime you roll Wild Magic. So Unstable Backlash, the initial time you rage, both of those.
Yep.
And this chaos has been, well, controlled.
Very funny. But no, this is when what you actually want starts mattering.
Yeah.
I will say, at this point, thanks to Unstable Backlash and Controlled Surge, you basically, if there is something specific you want for any given reason, because who knows why you might want stuff other than what I say, this basically means that you will always get it.
Right.
So that is really awesome.
So this, how do we rate this? Because this whole subclass, other than bolstering magic, is this table.
You're going to be surprised at this considering I'm playing one. This is C tier.
I feel like that's actually respectable.
Again, love it. I love playing this guy, but I can say this, having played one for 19 levels, the things it get doesn't help it barb.
Correct. I also wish some of the stuff scaled a little.
I also kind of, this is besides my rating of it, I kind of wish that the table we had was more closer to its cousin.
Do you mean there should be some bad options?
And that there were bad stuff.
I wish the table was larger too. I do. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But
Totem Warrior, an F tier, right? Definitely not the best of the best. No, what? I'm going to be honest. You guys all know how we're going to rate this one.
Yeah, but we might as well give our thoughts on it still.
Yes. Yeah. So, we're going to make this one quick because my body's yelling at me, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You get the spell Speak with Animal, which you can cast whenever you want as a ritual.
Yep.
As well as Beast Sense.
Cool.
So, you can talk to animals. Who cares? I'm going to be honest. And then we get, that's another complicated one. You get to choose a beast.
Spirit.
You get to choose a beast of 3 options. Or no, not 3. Much more.
5.
5 options. And you get certain things when it happens.
Yep. And unlike the Tundra one, you're not restricted to which ones you pick at the very first level.
Well, that's true. Can we just read it in the order I choose instead of the order that it's written?
Yeah.
So, let's start with Eagle. And we'll go down from there, and then read the top one last for reasons that'll be obvious. While you're raging and you aren't wearing armor, other creatures at disadvantage on top opportunity attack rolls against you, and you can use the dash action as a bonus action on your turn.
Cool.
I'm going to be honest. It's cool, but if you're going pure barb, this sucks.
Also, I want to bring up, Battle Rager. We get this at level 3.
Yeah, you're right.
I wanted to
You're
bring that
right.
up.
Yeah. Elk, while you're raging not wearing heavy armor, your walking speed increases by 15 feet.
I mean, hey,
Keep
extra
in mind,
movement to get the
as a
chase down the
reminder,
target.
while you're not wearing armor, heavy armor, Barbarian automatically gets that, so you're getting extra on top of that.
Yeah, it's cool. Hey, 15 feet is pretty impactful.
Though again, it comes to the same problem that Eagle does. Generally speaking, as a Barbarian, there are very few situations where I'd want to run away, so this is only going to get toward.
Right.
Tiger, well raging, you can add 10
Mm.
feet to your long jump distance and 3 feet to your high jump distance.
The jumping
We,
rules
we,
are
we talked about
shit.
jumping. Wolf, while you're raging, your friends have advantage on melee attack rules against any creature within 5 feet that is hostile to you. This is good. This is
this
really good.
this is
And
the
honestly,
top competitor to the last one.
yeah, I'll be honest. Well, Wolf is good, and there are a lot of situations where you're not going to pick Wolf. You're going to pick Bear. Everyone picks Bear. Because
Yeah,
while raging, you have resistance to all damage except psychic.
which
Let me repeat. All
all
damage. Everyone
yeah.
talks about how a Barbarian's health bar is basically doubled. When you're a Bear Barb,
It is doubled for almost everything, and you
I
could
will
get
say,
what you could pick options that will give you psychic resistance.
yeah, I will say, just as a little notable thing, on the server I'm in, where I played my Wild Magic Barb, I have had the honor of playing with a couple Wolf Barbs. And it is a really cool support ability,
It is
but
great.
it's not as good as Bear.
It's a great support ability. If only Wolf was not paired with Bear.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue that Bear. Definitely, it's Bear, Wolf. Then I would say Elk would be my top three choices.
Yeah, and then Eagle and Tiger. But I'll be honest, Eagle and Tiger aren't even in the consideration.
Well, I would say Eagle's above Tiger because, again,
Well,
jumping
it
rules are
is.
shit.
Well, it is. Yeah. Anyways, carrying on.
Aspect of the beast. This is basically we can adapt any of these, no matter what form we pick at level 3.
Sure, yeah. So, for this one, Bear is not as good, so I could pick either. So you gain the might of a bear, and your carrying capacity is doubled, and you have advantage on checks to make pull, lift, or break objects. Basically,
Cool.
you're the pack mule.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna. Nope, I'm not gonna skip this one. You gain the eyesight of an eagle. You can see it from 1 mile away with no difficulty, and can't even find it as though looking at something. No more. Basically, a sniper ability.
Which that is really interesting. That an enemy.
Additionally, dim
Yep.
light doesn't impose disadvantage on your wisdom perception checks, which
Cool.
I'm going to be honest as a DM. I often ignore this rule. I shouldn't, but I do, because it's hard to consider that all the time.
Yeah. And again,
And
cool.
That's on me. That's on me. I shouldn't do that. But if we're not ignoring that rule, that is a really good ability. Elk, whether mounted or on foot, your travel pace is double. As is the travel pace of up to 10 companions, which again, your party will likely not be that big.
Yep.
The elk. So basically, let's get moving. And Tiger, you gain proficiency in 2 skills in the following list, which is the Barb list.
Yep.
Well, actually, it's missing a couple things in the Barb list. Anyways, and then Wolf. You can track other creatures while fast pace. Use stealthy while traveling at no place. Honestly, all of these are fine.
All of these are passive. I don't know if anyone knows this. All of these are not combat based. The only one that I would consider to be ever so slightly a pinch of combat is technically Tiger with athletics for grappling, but you're a barbarian. You probably chose that level 1.
Yeah. So let's keep going.
Yep. To the Spirit Walker.
You can cast Commune with Nature as a ritual, and you can summon basically a version of the animal you speak to convey information. Then 14th level, I will state right now, you're probably going to pick Eagle. But while you're raging, any creature within 5 feet of you that's hostile to you has disadvantage on attack versus Bear.
Yep.
As the new. We've seen this feature before.
Yep. And keep in mind, they are immune to this if they cannot be frightened.
Correct.
Which that will come up.
While raging, you have a flying speed equal to your current speed. This benefit works only in short bursts, so you fall if you end your turn in the air and nothing else is holding you aloft. But again, in theory, with the right build, if you took Elk earlier,
Yeah,
Elk
you'd have a pretty
earlier,
fast flying speed
what you can
for a
do
single turn.
is go up to that flying guy and go right back to the ground.
Yep, which you will take fall damage. Or actually, do you take fall damage for this, or does it slow you down?
You well, if you okay, let me explain how Eagle works. On your turn, you can fly.
Yep.
If you end your turn in the air, you fall. But if you make sure to end your turn not in the air, you're good.
Right.
So in my scenario, you start your turn, jump up, beat the guy up with your barbarian skill set. Obviously, reckless and using great weapon master feat, you obviously have.
Yep.
And then, once the guy is sorely beaten up, all two of your attacks are well and truly placed, and your great weapon master bonus attack, if you choose to, you go right back to the ground and end your turn.
Yeah, no, Eagle is. It's hard to beat giving a barbarian a flying speed.
Yeah, here's the thing. As a barbarian, everyone knows the drill. You hate when the enemies are out of your reach. Anyways,
Elk.
then Elk is bonus action to move through space larger than the creature. Method picks of a large or smaller creature. That creature must succeed on a strength saving throw or be knocked. Oh, but this is your strength.
This is going based off of your strength.
Or be knocked prone and take bludgeoning damage equal to 1d12 plus your strength modifier.
This is okay.
That is actually huge.
This is cool.
That's huge. That's basically an attack.
Yeah. As a bonus action.
Yep, it's a bonus action attack. So, yeah. While you're raging for Tiger, if you move at least 20 feet in a straight line, you can use a bonus action to make an additional melee attack weapon against it. Right before making a melee weapon attack against it. Okay.
Yeah.
And Wolf, while you're raging, you can use a bonus action on your turn to knock a large or smaller creature prone when you hit it with a melee weapon attack. I'm going to be honest, I prefer Elk over that.
Yeah.
But you're going to pick Eagle.
Yeah, it's hard to beat Eagle.
So, I mean...
This has got to be F tier.
Yeah, absolutely.
No. This goes at the top of S tier. I'm sorry, Zealot and Ancestral. I mean,
you're great.
It's hard. It's hard to beat Totem.
Nothing beats Bear. It's Bear. But there it is. There is our tier list
for Barbarian so far. We will be continuing this at some point. So, I guess the order only matters right now for S tier because we have Totem, Zealot, and Ancestral.
Yes.
And I currently have it as Totem, well, in that order that I said.
Yeah, I will state for the record, I'm not going to be, at least in my head, I'm not going to be carrying Bards to Barbarians. It's just not fair. So.
Okay, we could do that. Yeah, that's absolutely fair.
Yeah, I don't think we should compare those because, they're just very different how they play. So I think this is our Barbarian list.
Yep, and honestly, I think I'm fine with this list.
All right, I'm gonna run away now for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you guys for watching. We will do more of this eventually. I don't know when we will do this again,
but we will do this again.
Yeah, we will do this again. Anyway, hope you guys have a good one. And as always, stay tuned for more. Bye bye. And I think it's time that we finally grow up. I'm sorry. I wanted to say something funny for this one.
And don't worry, that was there the entire time, and we definitely didn't realize this tier list wasn't up to date.
Yep. Yeah, we're doing a quick recording. You can mute, please. Anyway. Anyway, we have the Path of the Giant. The most, I believe, up-to-date, recent, and last official 2014 subclass by Wizards of the Coast.
So let's take a look at what you get. So, when you choose this path, you get to read and write Giant, or language of your choice if you already know Giant, and you can get either Druidcraft or Thaumaturgy, which are fun little cantrips. Honestly,
they're fun. In Baldur's Gate, I like having Thaumaturgy on my Barbarian to give him advantage on intimidation checks, which is something that you could do there. So it's cool. It's neat. Both cantrips are fun.
It's a shame we're not rating Baldur's Gate builds.
Right, I know. It's just something that I like doing.
All right, so your main third level feature, your rage pulls strength and transforming into a hulking force of destruction. While raging, you gain the following benefits. When you make a successful ranged attack with a thrown weapon using strength, you can add your range damage bonus to the attack's damage roll, which I'll say right now
Cool.
is huge. That's huge. Your reach increases by 5 feet, and if you're smaller than large, you become large along with anything you are wearing. If there isn't enough room for you to increase your size doesn't change.
Again, cool. This, I mean, yeah, this is
I mean,
all. This is good,
what?
and I would say this protects your team a little bit. With specifically your size increasing, you have a lot more chances to block the way to where enemies can get access to them.
Unfortunately, no. That's not how the game works, sadly. Increasing your size actually makes you worse at that.
Why? Because in my mind, when I think a larger creature, I'm thinking, okay, they're taking up more tiles, they're covering more ground.
And
Basically,
that
it's
is a
taking a
fair
tiny bit longer to get to my allies.
that is a fair interpretation of how things should be. However, the default rules of D&D, if something is more than 2 sizes larger than something, if something is more than 2 sizes larger than something, it costs no movement to go through it.
Even if it's a enemy creature, you can just go through it.
Yep.
Well, okay. Well, that's more of an issue later on, but right now, that's only affecting small and tiny creatures right now.
Yeah. At this point
So,
in the game, though,
not
you're more
as big
likely
of an
to run.
issue.
Yes, but it does factually make you worse at it than if you were a medium creature. No,
That's true.
what this feature is really good for is upping your range, which is good.
Oh, absolutely. This is the this is advertised as a very range heavy barbarian, and barbarian's range is pretty small. Like,
Uh,
they have movement to catch up, but flying creatures, no. Like, they're barbarians basically have barely any options other than javelins.
with that in mind, let's keep going.
Yep. To an
Uh,
elemental cleaver.
your bond with the elemental might of giants grows. You learn to infuse weapons with primordial energy. When you enter your rage, you can choose one weapon that you are holding and infuse it with one of the following damage types: acid, cold, fire, thunder, or lightning. While you wield the infused weapon during your rage, the weapon's damage type changes to the chosen type. It deals an extra 1d6 damage of the chosen type when it hits, and it gains the thrown property, which really stacks well with your crushing throw we talked about before.
Yep.
With a normal range of 20 feet and a long range of 6 feet. If you throw the weapon, it reappears in your hand the instant after it hits or misses a target. The infused weapon's benefits are suppressed while a creature other than you wields it. And while raging and holding the infused weapon, you can use a bonus action to change the infused weapon's current damage type to another one from the damage type options above. So you pick one damage type, you're like, all right, let's go fire. I don't know why I thought you your turn attack. Dang it! Why is this stupid red dragon immune to fire? I don't get it. Oh well.
And
It does cold damage now.
I feel like that this final line right here, where you can use another bonus action to change it, upgrades this feature from already being a pretty solid feature to might be one of the best 6th level features for a barbarian subclass. Having such a, first off, a very diverse list of options. I mean, there are probably a few creatures that have resistance to all of these. But here's the thing, you have the option to pick any of these. And that's
True.
pretty crazy. And
Well,
you can change it.
While we boil down to that, let's get to this subclass's bread and butter, the Mighty Impel.
Mighty Impel, 10th
Honestly,
level.
in my opinion, I'm going to be talking about this a little bit later. This is why you pick this subclass. Your connection to giant strength allows you to hurl both allies and enemies on the battlefield. As a bonus action while raging, you can choose one medium or smaller creature within your reach and move it to an unoccupied space you can see within 30 feet of yourself. An unwilling creature must succeed on a strength saving throw uh, based on your strength modifier, which you're a
Yep.
barb, it's going to be good, to avoid the effect. If at the end of this movement the thrown creature isn't on a surface or liquid that can support it, the creature falls, taking damage as normal and landing prone.
This is, I think, for our category, like, for a tank, this is a, if you want to use this as a tanking feature, this is S tier.
No, this isn't a tanking feature.
Well, you can use it as, you could use it as one, because,
How? How do you use this as a tanking feature?
well, you remember, was it Jimmy? Jimmy the Wizard.
Yeah, it's Jimmy the Wizard.
He is right next to, you said a demon earlier, that demon.
Balgura.
Balgura, thank you.
Yeah.
He's within 5 feet. He doesn't want to be within 5 feet. And more than likely, he's going to be medium or smaller.
That's not tanking, that's movement. And honestly, if you're using this for that, you're wasting it.
Well, I was going to say, you can use it for that.
But it's not an S tier tanking feature.
I also will say, and something fun that someone pointed out, but I forget who. Yeah. This doesn't say it has to be on a flat surface. You could just lift up someone, pull it to the air, and just have them drop.
Absolutely correct, and that's how you use it. Because let me tell you right now.
Which is funny.
Let me tell you the issue with using it the way you want. Because there is an issue to using it that way.
Okay.
You're limited to 30 feet within yourself, and they have to be in your reach originally, correct? Which is about 10 feet, let's say.
Wait, do they have to be within the 10 feet? I thought it was just 30 feet entire, like, as long as they're within 30 feet.
The person you're picking up has to be within 10 feet. That's what it says. So, the best you can do is move them.
I see. Okay.
You see the issue here? If an enemy is really dead set on getting Jimmy the Wizard, that enemy will get Jimmy the Wizard.
I will say, there are options that you have to make this even better for that, like by taking Sentinel.
Yes, but that's not what we're judging.
Right. I know. I'm just saying that we can improve upon that. I'm saying the option is on the table.
You are absolutely right, and that is absolutely worth doing. However, we're judging the subclass as it is with what it gives us.
Correct.
And alone, it is not a good tanking subclass, and I'm going to get back to that in a second. But let's take Demiurgic Colossus. The primordial power of your rage intensifies. When you rage, your reach increases by 10 feet.
Pretty good. So now let's say we have a great
increase to large or huge, your choice. And you can use your mighty impel to move creatures that are large or smaller. In addition, the extra damage dealt by your elemental cleaver feature increases to 2d6.
So, real quick,
I will state at this point, this subclass is a decent tank. Only at this point.
Okay. So, real quick, with the 10 feet reach, now, let's say we were using a greatsword, we have 15 feet. Or, if you want to use something like, let's say, a glaive, it'll be 20 feet. Or,
and if we're a bugbear, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, the bugbear thing, we don't have to include that because,
but what this really is because you can pick large or huge, and at this higher level, you're more to deal with larger things than smaller things.
Yeah.
You now have a decent shot of blocking movement if that's something you care to do. However, I have thought. And this subclass, funny that it's our last one, is the winner of a very, very special award I'm going to give it. First off, I'm going to put it on the tier list, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's, I'm going to swap tabs to the tier list. Where are we putting it?
D.
Really?
Yes, but there's an asterisk there. There's an asterisk. If you're looking to play a Barbarian, the way a Barbarian is supposed to be played, this is not the subclass for you. Every class has one of these. That is not a statement of it's a bad subclass. It's not. But it is not good for the primary Barbarian fantasy. That's why it's not a great tank. It's a great damage dealer, but not a great tank. But the stuff it lets you do is really fun. Like grabbing and moving and tossing people. That's just fun. So, it's a bad barbarian to do the traditional barbarian things, but it's a fun subclass on its own merits. So, as a barbarian, I have to rate it lowly, but I'm going to give it my special wild magic sorcerer reward.
Would we
And
be able to? Because if we're putting it in D, it's right next to Storm Herald.
mm-hmm.
Would we be able to upgrade that to at least a C? Because at the very least, it does fulfill one attribute of a barbarian pretty well, but doesn't improve what the already barbarian gets to help protect this team.
That's my issue. That's kind of my issue. I'm willing to argue C, but you gotta sell me on something. In order to get to C, it needs to do something in that the barbarian wants to do that you can't just do in other ways with other subclasses. That's the criteria for hitting C. Even Wild Magic's got that going for it, as it benefits from getting hit.
Okay, so first off, let's swing all the way back to Elemental Cleaver and Giant Havoc. Something that does gain a benefit for helping your team is if an enemy goes after your ally and somehow we're in a scenario where even with your improved movement, you can't quite get in the melee range, you still have options to try to like strike it down at the person.
I mean, well, that's true. Let me ask you this. If I were a fighter, a monk, a rogue, or any other martial class that has ranged options, I'd have those very same options.
True. That is absolutely true.
The reason barbarians don't go range is because they don't want to be at range. The bonus damage is nice, and I will admit that. I will acknowledge the bonus damage is nice, but it doesn't help him then barbarian. And that's why I can't rate it highly. I'm not giving it F.
Right.
And the reason I'm not giving it F is because later on it does get some stuff that helps it be a good barbarian. But only at its capstone. It is not a good barbarian until you're 14 levevels into it.
That is fair.
If you want to play a standard barbarian, I'm not waiting 14 levels to play one.
In that
Again,
case,
I want to be clear. This is a good subclass. This is not me trashing on the subclass, and that needs to be emphasized.
Right.
It's just not a good barbarian if you're looking to do the things a barbarian looks to do.
In that case, okay, that is absolutely fair. If we are putting in D, do we think it's better than the lack of scaling that the Storm Herald got?
It's below Storm Herald.
Before Storm Herald. Okay.
Yes. Like I said, this tier list is about judging it as a barbarian.
Right. That is fair. And
but there it is. There is our tier list.
For Barbarian so far. We will be continuing this at some point. So I guess like the order only matters right now for S tier because we have Totem, Zealot, and Ancestral.
Yes.
And I currently have it as Totem, well, in that order that I said.
Yeah. I will state for the record, I'm not going to be, at least in my head, I'm not going to be carrying bards to barbarians. It's just not fair. So.
Okay, we could do that. Yeah, that's absolutely fair.
Yeah, I don't think we should compare those because, they're just very different how they play. So I think this is our barbarian list.
Yep, and honestly, I think I'm fine with this list.
All right, I'm gonna run away now for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you guys for watching. We will do more of this eventually. I don't know when we will do this again.
But we will do this again.
Yeah, we will do this again. Anyway, hope you guys have a good one. And as always, stay tuned for more. Bye-bye.